All right, I think we have most everyone here, and I want to personally thank all of you for being here today. It is a truly monumental day for Madison County, for Metro Jackson. It's truly a monumental day for the state of Mississippi. A week ago, I stood here with many of these same individuals and announced that we will be calling a special session to finalize the largest payroll commitment of any major project and the second largest economic development project in our state's entire history. Together with our legislative leaders, we accomplished that goal last week. We moved forward with a project that will lead to nearly $2 billion being invested in Mississippi and create 2,000 quality jobs that pay an average annual salary of $66,000 a year. This was yet another tremendous win for Mississippi, and it is an incredible sign of the strength of our state and the incredible economic investment we are attracting. It is truly a testament to the people of Mississippi that major companies are choosing our state for innovative jobs just like these. It is further proof that our state is doing what it needs to do to drive further economic growth and position Mississippi as a national leader in innovation. When you think about the last 40 years, Mississippi has averaged about one Mississippi Major Economic Impact Act special session every 10 years. We're doing 2 in 8 days this year in 2024, and I think that says an awful lot. Today, I'm proud to stand before you as we once again make history, as I announce that I am calling a special session to finalize a new multi-billion-dollar economic development project for our state. The size of this new investment is unlike anything we've ever seen before. It will be the single largest capital investment that has ever been made in the state of Mississippi by a lot. That's because this project we'll be finalizing is at least a $10 billion investment in our state. Let me say that again, $10 billion investment. And just to put that in perspective, it is 4 times larger than the previous largest economic development project in our state's history. The project will create 1,000 new high-tech jobs for Mississippians and will help expand our state's growing technology sector. It truly is an opportunity for us to diversify our economy. Over the last 4 years, you've heard me talking about preparing Mississippians for the high-paying jobs of the next 50 years, not the low-paying jobs of the last 50 years. These 1,000 jobs are exactly that. That's because once finalized, it will result in 2 hyperscale data center complexes on 2 industrial park sites. Now I want to just say this again. It will result in 2 hyperscale data center complexes on 2 industrial park sites. That is not one building at each site, just FYI. One data center will be located near Canton, and a second will be located at another site in Madison County. This project will be a game changer for the people of Mississippi. It's also going to be a game changer for central Mississippi and the greater Jackson metro area. Throughout my administration, you've heard me speak about the importance of Jackson to the future of our state. These 2 sites are located approximately 7 miles and approximately 20 miles from downtown, and both will offer a wealth of high-paying, technologically advanced career opportunities for those who live in and around the Metro Jackson area. That's something we should all be proud of. Altogether, Mississippi continues to make history. The fact is that records were made to be broken, and with this project, our state will do it once again. We will continue to set our sights on the future. We will continue to relentlessly pursue every record set and every opportunity for future economic growth. And we will continue to attract innovative companies and high-paying technology jobs to better our state and to better the lives of all Mississippians. Now, I'm officially calling the special session to begin on Thursday, January 25th at 9:30 a.m. to finalize this project. Obviously, that's tomorrow morning, but many of the folks that are behind me today have been working on this for at least 2 weeks and some others for longer than that. I want to personally thank Lieutenant Governor Hosemann, Speaker White, and all of our members of the legislative delegation that stand behind me today. The reality is, I expect them to carefully consider this opportunity and work quickly to finalize it. We know what large investments like this do because we've seen companies such as the one that we are announcing today and what they've done in other areas across the country. This is a big deal, and together we have an amazing opportunity to put another win in the books for our state. It will cap off an extraordinary beginning to 2024. And so with that, I'm going to call on Speaker Jason White to say a few words. Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Governor. It's truly exciting to be here today and be a part of this. To be standing here for 2 consecutive weeks to announce historic economic development projects coming to the great state of Mississippi. I want to congratulate the Governor and his team, as well as Bill and MDA. I want to also congratulate Madison County's local elected officials and my House reps and the senators here today for being a part of this. It is a game-changing economic development impact for your people and for all the people of Mississippi. This project the Governor is sharing today is 4 times larger than the previous record holder for the biggest economic project in Mississippi. There's no doubt that Mississippi is open for diverse, dynamic, and dedicated businesses. We are generating economic growth that reflects our commitment to not just provide jobs for today, but for the future with modern, data-based technologies. As I reflect on the collaboration in our most recent special session just last week, I'm looking forward to moving this measure through the House quickly yet again. We've been working for many years to ensure Mississippi has all the right components to attract companies at this level. Not only can we compete with any state in this nation, but we can win, and this proves it. As we move forward together on another economic development success, it's proof Mississippi's momentum is real and it is thriving. Thank you, Governor, for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you. Thanks. Thanks, Speaker. I don't have prepared remarks here. You know, the truth of the matter, we didn't get lucky today. This is a result of the fact that we redid all economic incentives in Mississippi, something called MPLEX. We fully depreciate all our equipment in Mississippi last year. We've cut taxes, the 6th lowest tax state. Our graduation rates are 89% from our high schools now. We put $2.3 billion in roads and bridges. You look at all the things we did, career coaches to teach our young men and women how to get these kind of jobs that the governor is speaking of. We didn't get lucky today. We've earned this. And it's really just the start. When you've got good leadership, like the governor and Bill Cork, you've got good leadership in your House of Representatives, good leadership in your Senate, and you work hard. We practiced for this moment for the last 4 years. It didn't just show up here. The governor's been working on this for 5 years. It's not like we got lucky. We earned this, and we will go back and we'll earn more of these. So today's a good day. It's a day of celebration. But it's a day that is built on years of hard work by the members of the legislature, the governor, his staff, and the others to get our state prepared to achieve these kinds of things. These are, as the governor said, game-breaking. This new industry that we're bringing in here is state-of-the-art for the world, for the country. And they came to Mississippi. And they came here because we earned it. So all of us should be very proud of all the work that the governor's done, the members of the Senate and the House have done. And we're really looking forward to the session and expediting this through the Mississippi Senate. Right. So thank you.
Very good.
Again, I want to thank everyone for being here. I want to specifically mention the entity that will be providing the power, Entergy. They have worked relentlessly on this project. Delbert mentioned that I started, the first I heard about the potential of this, and my first meeting occurred some 6 calendar years ago on this particular project. But we would not be here today were it not for the dedicated team at Entergy, their economic development team, which is here today, led by Ed Gardner, but also their generation team and the entire team to make sure that the power can be provided, because these projects don't go anywhere where there's not power. I should also point out that an entity that's coming here such as this to ensure that the power can be delivered, you're going to see significant capital investments that are not included in the $10 billion in a lot of counties that are not called Madison County. It's just a reality. You're going to see significant capital investment in Hinds County. I think you're probably going to see significant capital investment in Washington County. I think you're probably going to see significant capital investment in other counties throughout the Mississippi Delta, because to generate this kind of power, it's going to require that. And so, again, economic development is a team sport, and the men and women that stand with me today that represent Madison County and other areas of our state, along with our local elected leaders, our mayors, our board of supervisors in Madison County. We wouldn't be here today if Madison County had not had the foresight to have a mega site in this location. Investing in economic development is what helps lead to this, and I couldn't be prouder to be a Mississippian than I am today. And so with that, I've promised my friends in the legislature that they can step down so that they don't have to listen to all the good and not so good questions that may come from this. But I want to thank all of them for being here. So thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay, at this time I'm going to certainly open the floor to any questions that you may have. We'll start to my right with Miss Emily.
Thank you, Governor. I was wondering if you could provide us some details about the incentive package that you're going to be asking legislators to approve.
I will. So this is one of the beautiful things about this particular investment is I think you'll see that the incentives from a financial standpoint are interesting. So the state is going to provide approximately a $44 million appropriation in the legislative session, and that $44 million is going to mostly consist of $32 million for training. So 32 of the 44 is going directly to our people to train them for these jobs. And also, in addition to that, we are going to provide the opportunity for Madison County to borrow from the state $215.1 million. That is going to be repaid to the state through a fee in lieu agreement that the company has agreed to. So in essence, the company pays a fee in lieu to the county pays back the state, And so that $215 million is really nothing more than a loan and a flow through. Of that $215 million, the vast majority of it is going to the extension of a sewer system, but there's approximately $15 million in roads in and around the site. There's approximately $14.8 million in investments in the water system in the affected area. There's approximately $171.5 million investment in the sewer system because, again, these data centers require, obviously, land. They require power. They also require a significant amount of water. Primarily think cooling systems to cool these large buildings. And then there's also going to be an investment that the county is making in a new fire station to serve this site and other sites. And so, again, there is not any direct money to the company, with the exception of the $32 million in training grants and the total of $44 million, which is going to include operating monies for the state, et cetera. In addition to that, one of the key components that these deals need to make sense, because this $10 billion investment, at a minimum, they hope to have these operational and functional sometime in the neighborhood of 2027, or at least a portion of them. And so speed to market is incredibly important. Because of that, in the process of negotiating this deal, we agreed with the company that the legislation is going to expedite some of the approval processes of the Public Service Commission. I have met individually with all three Public Service Commissioners, including Commissioner DeKeither Stamps, who represents Central Mississippi, and I'll let the three commissioners speak for themselves. But I think that they are all three very excited about this project. But we are going to reduce the time for certain approvals in the regulatory process, and I have personally committed, and there are resources here to ensure that everything from the regulatory environment at the Department of Environmental Quality to the Public Service Commission to the public utility staff. I've also met with former Representative Beckett, who runs the public utility staff, and this is going to be a whole of government approach. You're going to see all of Mississippi government working together to expedite this process, because I really do believe that the $10 billion commitment this morning, if we can be successful in the implementation of that over the next 3 years, and if we can develop a plan to continue to provide more and more and more power generation, I think $10 billion is the start. It is not the end of what this company and many other companies in this space potentially are going to invest. Mississippi's in a unique position. I think you'll see that when you start looking at where these data center hubs are located around the country, and you look at the quality of the states that we are going to be in comparison to, what you're going to find is that this is a huge, huge, huge deal and a huge step forward for the state of Mississippi.
Bobby Harrison with Mississippi Today has a question.
That's certainly surprising.
Governor, real quick, I assume you won't provide the name of the company right now, but can you at least tell us the average salary, like for the last week's project, and also just a little bit more details on the location, especially the second location outside of Canton in Madison County?
I will. So the salaries are going to be, for those 1,000 jobs, at or above where the salaries were for the project that occurred last week. All of the company badges are going to be at a certain level. All of the ancillary jobs will be at a certain level, none of which will be below 125% of the average state wage. These are good, high-paying jobs, number one. The location, everybody, I think, knows mostly where the where the mega site is there between Nissan Parkway, just west of Nissan Parkway, north to just west of the Canton interchange on I-55. That's the first site. The second site is actually called the Costas property. The Costas property is somewhere, the way I think about it is, think about where Tougaloo is, and it's just not very far west of Tougaloo. It's just north of I-220. It is actually in Madison County, and in, I think, it is definitely in Madison County, but it is literally basically across the street from County Line Road and Hinds County, within a couple of miles. Yes, sir.
Does the incentive package include any tax breaks, and if so, what are they?
Yeah, so the tax breaks that are included in this specific deal are not different than the data center tax breaks that are already in statute, basically. But those commitments will include a 10-year 100% corporate income tax exemption, sales and use tax incentive good for construction and for any investment made, 12 months post-construction. We're going to do a 90% rebate on the contractor's tax, and sales and use tax equipment for the facilities for perpetuity. So that's the tax savings that they have over the life of the project. Yes, sir.
I know some lawmakers had some issues with the amount of time that they were given to read some of these bills and properly discuss them. You mentioned that some lawmakers have been open for 2 weeks. Does that include rank and files that are known for leadership and county-specific lawmakers?
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, the transactions such as this, there has been a pretty extensive negotiation period that was largely done over the last 6 to 7 months. The reality is that some of our team, and look, I just got to brag on the Madison County team, and I got to brag on our team at the Mississippi Development Authority. They have worked night and day, specifically the last 7 or 8 days, as we tried to transition from getting the special session done on Thursday into finalizing the documents. And so the specifics of this deal, just like we did last week, will be borne out in, I'm sure, committee meetings at Ways and Means and Appropriations in the House, at committee meetings in Senate Finance and Appropriations in the Senate. Bill Cork does a phenomenal job, I think, by all accounts, answering whatever questions they may have, and we will certainly continue to do that, and that will be available between now and 9:30 tomorrow, and then, of course, we'll be available tomorrow as well. I anticipate, just for the legislators here who fully understand and appreciate the process, in terms of the number of bills, et cetera, my guess is it's going to be very similar, if not identical, to last week, where we had 3 bills, which is in essence the MMEIA legislation, the appropriation bill that creates the fund for the $44 million, and then the fund, the appropriation bill that actually appropriates it specifically. So again, I think the good news is, which, by the way, that particular model is exactly what we used on Aluminum Dynamics 14 months ago. The good news is, for 40 years, we had about 1 MMEIA project every 10 years, and we've had 3 in the last 14 months. So I think that certainly there'll be certain provisions and certain questions that the rank and file members have, and we're happy to answer those questions. But I'm very comfortable. I think you saw with the turnout today, I'm very comfortable that everyone's going to see this particular deal as a great deal for the people of Mississippi. Yes, sir.
Yes, Governor. How much land are those 2 sites going to be located on? And is there anything you can tell us about the company as to where they're from? Are they domestic? Are they already here in the state? Are they international? Anything like that?
So the Madison County mega site has 927 acres, and the Costa site in Ridgeland has 786 acres. And the company, what I can tell you, I cannot tell you where they're headquartered or where they are from. I'll just tell you that you've probably heard of them before. They're one of the, let's call it one of the 20 largest companies in the world. Let's just go with that.
Governor, some lawmakers feel like a special session isn't needed. This can be handled in the current session. Just what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and look, I certainly appreciate those lawmakers' opinion with respect to that. Every Mississippi Major Economic Impact Act bill that's ever passed in Mississippi history has been done in a special session. I think when you talk to these legislators, particularly the chairman of Ways and Means, the chairman of Finance, the chairman of Appropriations, the reality is, and I haven't looked at this, but having been someone who refers bills, they all have hundreds of bills in their committees that they need to deal with. The special session allows for them to really focus in their committee meeting on the specifics of this particular deal. And so I think that while, I mean, look, the reality is the legislative process is what it is. I've been working in it and around it for the last 20 years, and there are always certain complaints about certain things. That's just the nature of the beast. But at the end of the day, the thing that the special session allows is that every single legislator, 122 in the House and 52 in the Senate, can let their voices be heard. They can represent their people, and they can vote for this project, or they can choose not to. But at the end of the day, I think it's pretty overwhelming given the size of the capital investment, the number of jobs being created, the quality of the jobs that are being created, and the fact that of the $44 million we're asking to be appropriated for the entire project at this point, that literally $32 million of that is going to training our people in and around the Jackson metro area. And quite frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if folks from 30, 40, 50, 100 miles drive every day to this facility because they do it at Nissan, which literally is just across on the east side of I-55.
Governor, where's the remainder of the $44 million that the state has given the company? Where's that money going? And you said something earlier about this project will mean a huge new capital investment in the city of Jackson. Specifically, what do you mean by that?
No, I don't think I said it. This project is going to necessarily mean a huge new capital investment inside the city. What I did say is that it will be a huge investment in Hinds County, most likely by the utility provider. And I don't know if that's in the city or outside the city, but it's in Hinds County. I just don't know. You can ask them that, and they may tell you, they may not. I don't know. But it is a huge investment in Hinds County that I know of. The difference between the $32 million in training grants and the $44 million in appropriations, part of that $44 million is to provide immediate liquidity so that the monies that we provide Madison County, we can start spending them immediately because, again, speed to market is just so important. Part of that $44 million is going to go into a fund to ensure that the whole of government approach is allowable and we have adequate resources. For example, should the Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality need to hire consultants to make sure that we get something done quickly to get this permitted, that we have resources available to do that. Because, look, much of this construction is literally going to take place over the next 3 years. And it doesn't make any sense for us to go out and hire, for example, 10 new full-time equivalent employees at DEQ to deal specifically with this project, because 3 years from now we're going to have these 10 people, and unless it keeps going, which I think it will, but we won't need those employees. So I think it's about $6 million of the remainder is going towards that whole of government approach, which we'll spend if we need to and won't if we don't. And then there's also a $5 million piece of this that goes to future site development for this company in future locations, because I really believe that by 2030, while the first two sites are in Madison County, I don't think this company is going to stop investing in the Metro Jackson area after these two sites are full. And we want to have resources to work alongside them to ensure that the next sites are available when they need them. And so I think that that's probably 99.9% of what that $44 million will go to.
Governor, who currently owns the Costas property, and is there
I have
anything
no
on
idea.
there right now?
I have no idea. I think there's my guess is it is either owned by the Economic Development Authority or there is a an option to buy the Economic Development Authority at a predetermined price. Obviously, those two would be required before we made this announcement today, because if we announced a project on a site that there wasn't an agreement to buy at a certain price, obviously we would not have a lot of leverage and we would not be very good at our job if we did that. So I don't know if it's outright ownership or just an option to purchase it. And I don't know who that option, I don't know who owns it at this time, but the County Economic Development Authority, I'm quite sure, has the options, either them or the company.
Construction companies coming in to build these sites, will there be any provisions in the legislation to bid those out to Mississippi companies? And with the working together of the government, will those bids have to go through a similar process of what you see if like a state building was done, or is this done solely from the company that's coming in?
No, these projects will not require government procurement. If they did require government procurement, I don't think we could meet our 2027 deadline. And as a reminder, the $10 billion capital commitment by the company and the $44 million commitment by the state, none of that, nor is any of the other going towards the actual building of the building or buildings, as it were. And so what I would tell you is I don't believe in mandating Mississippi contractors. I've made that clear because what ends up happening is we got a lot of Mississippi contractors that do jobs in a lot of other places across the country, and to me that's a dangerous game to get into. Now, having said that, I have very long conversations with our counterparties in this deal, and they know how important it is to me personally to give Mississippi contractors the opportunity to compete for these projects. I will tell you that I expect that there will be a lot of Mississippi contractors engaged. I don't know if you've driven by either one of these sites in the last 3 months, but there are Mississippi contractors on site right now starting the process. And so what I would tell you is just so everyone understands the magnitude of this project. We think over the next 3 years, and this may be in the Economist report, we think that there's going to be at least, let me just back up, Aluminum Dynamics. I toured Aluminum Dynamics in Columbus back in October with the gentleman who was leading that particular effort. At that time, they had 6 Mississippi general contractors on site doing work. Okay, they had 6 different Mississippi contractors on site doing work. The person that gave me the tour told me that by sometime in February, they expected to have 3,000 people, construction jobs, on site for the Aluminum Dynamics by February of 2024. And I haven't talked to them in the last couple of months, so I don't know where we are on getting to 3,000, but I promise you there's close to that there now. We think this particular project, given the size and the magnitude of it, will have at least 6,000 to 7,000 construction workers on site every day, basically, once fully operational for the next 3 years. And quite frankly, think it's probably closer to 15,000. Now, I just want to take a step back and think about that. 15,000 people on site. So what you're going to see is you're going to see everybody in Mississippi who has a skill that wants to work at this site, they're going to have an opportunity to do so. There's also going to be all the other ancillary construction and et cetera going on. If you throw, let's just call it 6 to 7 to 15,000 people on these two sites overnight, they all got to eat somewhere. They all got to live somewhere. They all got to enjoy themselves somewhere. And so and by the way, none of that ancillary stuff is considered in our model at all. And that's the beautiful thing about about a project of this magnitude, is it's going to create tremendous amounts of revenue for the state and for the cities and for the counties that we don't even contemplate in our model. And so again, the approximately $44 million that the state's putting in here, I'm not the state economist, but I don't think the payback on this particular project for the state should be measured in years. It's going to be measured in months, and that doesn't include any of the long-term 1,000 jobs that the company committed to. I mean, this is a really, really, really big deal.
Because anybody has a question.
Good.
Governor, thank you very much. Of the last two projects, I know I forgot to ask you this last week, but of these two projects, have you discussed anything about their contribution to the communities? Like, for example, all the casinos down here, they do a pretty good job of contributing to the schools. And my thought process is, are these two companies, these two projects, the last 2 weeks, is there going to be any contribution to the communities that they're in? Thank you.
Well, thank you, Hunter. I appreciate that. I'm pretty confident that this particular company will make significant charitable contributions to the schools, which is out of their own generosity, and we certainly appreciate it. I'm confident that they will do so. But what I will tell you is, because of the location of these two sites, both Canton Public Schools and Madison County Public Schools are going to see huge amounts of revenue coming through their fee in lieu agreement. And I mean, I'm not going to tell you numbers because that's not my place to do, but I can tell you the school districts and the county, from a revenue standpoint, in the actual deal itself, are huge, huge, huge winners. And that's good. They made the investment in the site. It's the community leaders made the investment in helping attract this here. But I don't think you're going to see either one of the school districts in Madison County upset with the revenue generation they're going to get. Let me just say that. With or without charitable contributions, but I'm sure there's going to be some charitable contributions as well. And oh, by the way, just so you understand, when I talk about some of the capital investments that are going to be made, for instance, by the utility company, by Entergy, they're going to generate some of this power in places other than Madison County. And they're going to make very large capital investments in places in other parts of the state. And to do so, they're going to have agreements in place eventually, if they don't already, with those counties and school districts as well. So this is not just going to be a significant windfall of revenue for the two school districts in Madison County. You're going to see significant additional revenue for a lot of different counties. And that's a good thing. We want to see that. Yes, sir.
Governor, you mentioned this kind of a big picture question. In the past 2 years, we've had 3 record-breaking economic development projects in Mississippi. In your words, what has the state done to become so business-friendly to attract these kinds of deals? And also, what is your message to other big companies wanting to locate their sites somewhere in the future?
Number one, Mississippi is open for business. We work incredibly hard. We work incredibly hard to bring these businesses into our state. You'll notice that all 3 of these Major Economic Impact Act that I've brought to the legislature, their average wages are $150,000 50% of the average wage. It's about driving per capita income. It's about the jobs of the next 50 years, not the jobs of the last 50 years. And our team has been incredible at how hard they've worked on a daily basis to make these deals happen. But I'll also tell you, we started, days like today don't happen just because of that. Days like today happen because of a concerted effort, really a whole of government approach from 13 years ago, where we are investing in infrastructure, we're investing in site development, we're investing in our people through workforce development and workforce training, because at the end of the day, if a company of this size did not believe they could hire the number of people that they needed with the skills that they needed, and these are higher tech jobs, then the reality is they wouldn't be locating here. And so, the world is noticing. Something special is happening here in Mississippi. And that's just a fact. And, there are going to be naysayers in everything that occurs, but the reality is we have a government that is friendly. We have sites that are available. We have adequate power to provide their short-term needs and are willing to discuss long-term plans to make even more power available. And we're going to do it in a way that that makes us all proud to be Mississippians. And so I'm going to tell you, today is a watershed moment in the history of Mississippi's economic development efforts. $10 billion is more capital investment than was announced in the 8 years before I became governor. Okay, just to put this in perspective, we've done $12 billion in new announcements in the last 8 days, and we're not done. We're not going to stop. I'm ready for this press conference to be over, so Bill and these legislators can go to the Capitol and work on this deal, because my goal is after this press conference is over, I'm going to start working on the next one. Okay? And there's a lot of opportunities out there. We've got a pipeline that is unlike anything we've ever seen in the state of Mississippi. And the key now is to make sure that we continue to invest in those sites, because what we can't do, if we have a site in certain areas that is ready, we can't just ignore it. We got to keep investing and keep getting it ready, more and more close to ready. And so, and I'll just say this as well. To those areas that saw the Aluminum Dynamics go to the Golden Triangle and saw the project go to Marshall County last week and saw this go to Metro Jackson, I'm telling you, those are 3 mega sites that are no longer in play. That's the good news. And so if you were number 4 on the list, number 5 on the list, not on my list, by the way, but on future companies' list, then you just moved up to number 1 or number 2. And that's why the site development program that we funded is so critically important, that the legislature has invested $70 million in the last 2 years. I'm going to ask for more for site development, by the way. And if you have a location that didn't get one of these 3 projects and you want to get the next one, help me get some site development money, because that's really important. Because, again, speed to market is what it's all about, because 1 day, 1 week, 1 month delays are the difference in winning and losing projects of this size and magnitude. And by the way, this company could have chosen anywhere in the world. In fact, they have chosen a lot of other places around the world. But this is where they chose in southeastern United States. This is where they've chosen in southeastern United States. They have hubs in the West. They have hubs in the Midwest. They have hubs in the Far East. Mississippi is where they've chosen, for now, in the southeastern United States. And if we implement what we need to implement, they're going to continue to invest, because that's where the market's going.
Governor, you have indicated that it's going to take several years before the plants actually come online, as it were. Will this yet-to-be-named company invest time and training, working with different STEM programs, working with different schools, to prepare the workforce that they anticipate getting from this area, homegrown workforce?
That's a great question, and I will tell you, it is. I think it's incredibly important to the company, and I know it's incredibly important to me that the $32 million that we have provided in this particular bill has money for K through 12 institutions. It has money for community colleges. It has money for our institutions of higher learning. And I think you will see not only will we utilize those resources to invest in Canton and Madison County, we're going to need a lot of these individuals to come from Jackson Public Schools. We're going to need a lot of these individuals to come from either Holmes or Hines community colleges or the other community colleges around the state. We're going to need a lot of the data engineers to come from Mississippi State and Ole Miss and Jackson State. I mean, I think you're going to see if we can be successful at building on today and really make this not just a capital investment, but an industry in our state, that will make us successful. But yes, we're going to have significant resources to invest in training workers in every region of the Metro Jackson area. Seeing no further questions, again, thank you all for being here. I'm ecstatic, I'm excited, and I appreciate the work of the legislature. The leadership that we've worked with over the last couple of weeks on these two big deals could not have done a better job, and I'm hoping that continues through tomorrow afternoon, at which point I'll stand in the rotunda of the Capitol and I will give you the official name of the company at that point when they sign off on it. And they may even be standing with me. We shall see. So thank you all.